So around this time, that's when I started to see someone, and everything was going great, and he was a really wonderful guy. I got a chance to show him sides of myself that I feel like I wasn't really open to showing to any other past relationship I've ever been in before. So my relationship with him was quite special. And so he lived in another city, so we spent a lot of time talking and a lot of time on the phone. And eventually, it came to the point where we decided that it was time for us to meet in person. So around the holidays, I made plans to go see him. And, I can start to say once we got something on the books, it just seemed like the spiritual attacks were just coming from everywhere. I began to open my confession book and start to confess a pure life and to get into the word, but it just seemed like this tugging was on me, and it just seemed like it was an impossibility. Like the sin cycles were showing back up in my life, and in a way that was so strong, I wasn't sure how I was going to fight it. So, long story short, but interesting, I fell back into that sin cycle, and before I even went out to visit him, I was finding myself back in the bar scene, back in the party scene, and I think a part of me just knew that it wasn't going to work out, and I believed that that was just God preparing me, that like, hey, I know this seems like this is real, but this is not what I have for you. And I think a big part of that had to do with just the disappointment behind it, because I would be so disappointed if it wasn't going to work out. I've just coming off of, a bunch of rejections. I've been rejected quite often in the past, and never felt like a romantic relationship ever worked out. And so that was that stemmed from a lot of insecurity and just feeling like I wasn't ever good enough, just based on my past experience before. So I had a lot of hope that this would work out, but I went to go visit him, and I would say that I self-sabotaged that myself, just knowing that it wasn't going to be what I expected it to be, and spent a lot of the time just drunk and under the influence, and just didn't put my best foot forward. But nevertheless, the next day, I would say I was still able to remain chaste, but things did go just too far in that sense. And so that next day, after I got up and was headed home, I just felt that everything had just shifted. Like the whole atmosphere shifted, and maybe it could have just been my own insecurity in that moment, but things definitely just took a turn. And as we started to get back to the routine of things, just the communication was off. It wasn't the same. And I began to kind of go into a downward spiral. And just some background with that is, a lot of times when I've felt myself not having any type of control in life, I would seek other practices. So like New Age practices and divination, specifically tarot, to get answers, especially when I was just feeling so out of control and I just wanted to know what the outcome was going to be so badly. I couldn't put my faith in God because it never seemed like He gave me the answers that I was looking for. I never sought Him for those answers, because a lot of the times I was doing something that was against His will anyway. So why would I go and talk to God and ask Him about these things when I'm doing things that are against His will? So I found myself getting heavily back into tarot card readings, so streaming tarot card readings regularly, and just trying to understand what was going on with him without directly asking him about what was going on, and just feeling so insecure and feeling so at my wit's end.